Has there ever been a fantasy series that you really want to dive into, but it's just too big and you just don't have the time? Ever want to try out a new author and get a taste for their writing, but you just don't have time to fit in any of their books into your TBR? Ever want to switch things up in between longer books with something short and fun and exciting? Well, I've got just the thing for you, and that is the beautiful world of novellas. And I'm going to show you my top 15 novellas I read in 2024. What's up, beasties? It's me, Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Welcome back to the channel. You're looking marvelous, looking lovely, looking beautiful, beasties, and I am so glad you're here hanging out with me. I'm excited to talk to you about the top 15 novellas I read in 2024. I love novellas. They become a staple of my reading every month. I absolutely adore them. I love how you can get introduced to a new author's writing and get a feel for it, get a feel for a new series and characters, and do it all in a book that's less than 200 pages. Because that is what a novella is. A longer than a short story, shorter than a book, a novella. It's usually between 50 to 200 pages. So I've got 15 that I read in 2024 that I absolutely loved, and I've got a bunch on the docket for 2025. So look forward to hearing about all sorts of novellas. I love them, and you should too. So let's talk about the top 15 novellas I read in 2024. All right, so first up, I do want to say that last year, I didn't read as many novellas. I did read some, but since I found not last year, in 2023, I did not read as many novellas, but I did enjoy them very much. And I read a few, but not as many. And my favorite novella of prior to finding BookTube, I must say, was The Fall by Ryan Cahill. It is fantastic. If you haven't read this yet, you should. If you haven't gotten into his series Bound and the Broken, you should. I read Blood and Fire and The Fall. They're both awesome. I'm excited to dive into that series and get caught up in time for his new book releasing in the spring. But this is my favorite novella of all time, and we'll see later on this month as I update my top 10s of all times. I'm going to do one for novellas. We'll see if anything beat this. But this is an example of a novella, The Fall. You've probably heard of it, maybe not, but it's fantastic. You should definitely check it out. But this was 2023, not 2024. So we're going to talk about 2024. I have a couple honorable mentions only because they kind of are in this weird zone, and I'll tell you why. So first off, The Builders by Daniel Polanski. Absolutely loved this book, and it actually could have been in my top 10 of 2024 possibly, or at least an honorable mention for that, but I was assuming it was a novella because it's a short, quick read, but it's actually over 200 pages, so it's just a shorter book. So it's kind of in that gray area, and I wanted to give it a shout out because I love this. If you love Magnificent Seven westerns, if you love Redwall, this mashes those together in a fantasy world, and it's oh so good. You've got these characters here that are animals, and they talk, and they drink, and they fight, and they kill. They have weapons. It's pretty awesome. And it's a revenge story, and it's really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. Bloody, funny, a lot of action. I love Daniel Polanski, and this was fantastic. You should definitely check it out. And then I have a couple of short story collections, which could fit the page count of a novella, but since they're short story collections, I didn't want to put them in my top 10 since these are all strictly novellas. And that was Stone Stars and the Storms Between by G.J. Terrell, who is the author of Bloodwoven, which you know I love. It was in my top 10 video, and I'm excited to read the sequel to this and the novella he has set in this world. But this is his short story collection full of short stories, and I really loved it. It really got me into his writing, knew I would love it, and got me. I read this before I read Bloodwoven, and this was fantastic. But short story collection, same with Stone and Sky. These are a bunch of prelude short stories all bundled together that kind of lead into Z.S. Diamante's first book, Stone and Sky, which I'm reading this year. Cannot wait. But I loved all of these, love the characters, love his writing, love the world. Cannot wait to read this. And that's the beauty of novellas. they really can help you get into, try out an author's writing, see if it works for you, but also get into that world and get pumped to read the bigger books in that world. And that's what this one did for me. It was excellent. All right, so without further ado, finally, let's get into the top 15 novellas I read in 2024, baby. All right, so first up, I don't have a physical copy of it, so it's the prelude to the Crown and Tide series, book 1, which is Traitors We Are by Michael Roberti. This was the prequel novella I read. I read it on ebook, and it is called Revenge of Thousands. I always want to call it the sequel, by the sequel title to this, but I haven't read this, but I really want to after reading that. It was fantastic. Michael does such a great job. I mean, this whole world he's created is amazing. Such a cool concept. When you die, everything you've ever written disappears. And it's so cool. I cannot wait to see what he does with that in his long form books, because his novella was fantastic. He did a great job in such a short amount of pages, making me care so much about the characters, and care so much about the world and what's going to happen to them. And everything from writing an action scene on a battlefield. He did great with that. A kind of mercenary assassin behind the lines with his ragtag crew doing little jobs. I love that. A sweet scene of a young man getting ready to go off to war with his bride to be, who he loves. And this way they did that was fantastic. Just incredible. The entire thing. He writes characters so well, and I am pumped to read his book. Michael Roberti is a fantastic guy, fellow teacher. You should definitely support him. Check out his books. But his novella, so good. I loved it. It's fantastic. It was, I read it towards the tail end of this year, and I loved it a lot, and I cannot wait to get into this. So next up at number 14, we have The Last Stand of the Stone Fist by Michael R. Miller. This is the prequel novella to this beauty right here, Ascendant, Song of Chaos, book 1. But this also has, in the back of it, the prequel novella to the Dragon Blade series. It's called The Huntress, and that was also, or Dragon's Blade series. That was also really good. That was more of a short story, but both were amazing. So this is an amazing novella. It was so good. Last Stand of the Stone Fist. They say you should read it after you read this, because you connect with the characters more, but I read it first, and it was excellent. I loved the relationship between the dragon and our main protagonist in this, Brode. It was really good, and I really enjoyed it. Michael R. Miller is popular for a reason. He's a great writer, and I already could tell that from this, and this is a beautiful edition too, by the way. But I'm really excited to read Song of Chaos ASAP in 2025, and a lot of that is because I loved this novella so much. All right, number 13, Necromancer Called Gam Gam. And this is the Chronicles of Gam Gam, book 1 by Adam Holcomb. And this was a lot of fun. I read it back during spooky season and loved it. The sequel's out now. I have it, The Wishing Stone. And I need to read that soon because I love this. Gam Gam is an awesome character. She's what it sounds like, an elderly necromancer. She's got a creepy skeleton cat demon thing. And it just was a really cool story. Gam Gam is helping a girl on the run who's being chased for things out of her control. And Gam Gam gets in the middle of it, and it's just really cool. There's a lot of cool stuff with ghosts and supernatural horror stuff. And a lot was done in a short page count, and it was really good. A lot of humor, but also very cool. And I highly recommend it. It's awesome. Number 12. Death Cult by Janelle Shiki. She is awesome. Very kind. Love chatting with her. But this was a lot of fun. If you love those older horror movies with that slasher vibe, you're going to love this. If you like the Saw movies, you're going to like this. Speaking of a Saw, oh man, the Saw in this, I'm a teacher, and where I work, the room below me is the wood shop. And every time I hear the saw go off now, after reading this, I get the chills. Woo, just every time. This is excellent. Very gory, very scary, very creepy, but very good. Cool characters in it. You care about them. You feel like you're all along the ride with them, and you're terrified for them. And it's just really well done. I cannot wait to read some more from Janelle. This was awesome. Number 11, Small Town Problems by Chris Ritchie. This was a blast. A good mix of sci-fi humor, kind of that small town, charming, cozy feel, a little alien invasion feel, found family, conspiracy, just everything going on there. I loved it. It was so much fun. Chris does a great job. I love the characters in this, and I cannot wait to see what he does next. This was a blast. I highly recommend you reading it. You're going to love it if you do. And now we're into the top 10 novellas I read in 2024. All right, number 10, To Catch a Witch by E.L. Montague. This was a lot of fun. I loved it. The cover is beautiful. It's got a very tense, dark feel. It focuses on a kind of a Salem witch trials, colonial era fantasy town. And there is a girl on the run. She's running from these, lawmen that are questioning some disappearance, and then there's some dark magic at play, and they come looking for her to bring her to justice for what they think that she did. And it's just really done well. It's a cool world. Cannot wait to get into more of EL's stuff. He's a great dude, great supporter of all things indie authors, of booktubers, of everyone. He's just an awesome dude, and I cannot wait to read some more of his stuff, because this was fantastic. Number 9, Ashes of a Risen Empire by Corey Ratliff. This is a prequel novella to his Almerian Chronicles of books, first of which is Whispers of a Worldbreaker, which I cannot wait to get to this year. Book 3 of this is coming out this summer, and I cannot wait. He's got a lot of cool things on the docket, and he's just an amazing dude, so I cannot wait to read his stuff. This prequel novella was fantastic. Dragon writer stuff, but it also had some very dark, Lovecraftian, fun magic stuff going on in it as well. It's very cool. I really love the characters. He writes some great characters really well, and this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I've sped through it, and I cannot wait to get into his big series, because this was fabulous. Very, very good. Number 8 is Killware by Tim Hawken. This was a blast. I did a video on this. There's a picture of it up there. You should check it out if you haven't yet. It was early on, so it might be embarrassing, but still. I did a live reading vlog in reaction to this. So this is a novella. It's a prequel and set in the same world as his novel Thrill Switch, which I want to read. Love that cover and have not read yet. But it is, I'll set that right here so you can look at that. But it's set in the same world, and this is such a cool novella. It's 100 pages with 100 words on each page, which makes for a pretty snappy, quick read, and pretty cool that he was able to write such a complete and fun story, sticking to those rules. It's got some really cool illustrations in it. Let me find one. Very cool. And it was just a lot of fun. Cyberpunk story, a detective. He's trying to solve these murders that are happening, and it's just really good. It's really good. Virtual reality, and something's contaminating it and frying them alive, hence the Killware virus that's going through it, and he's trying to solve it. He's got some secrets of his own, some vigilante things going on. There's a little bit of a romance involved. It's just got a little bit of everything in a very tight package, and it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. As I do all of these. Next up at number 7, we've got Win Among Crows by Veronica Roth. This was a fantastic novella. I absolutely loved it. I really hope that she does a full series in this world with these characters. It was so cool. Basically, you've got supernatural beings, and then you've got demons and vampires, all that kind of stuff. And then you have these people that are hunters. And what the hunters do is they have weapons, swords made out of their own bones. They literally pull their skin open and pull a bone weapon out of their own body. And it's pretty crazy, but it was a lot of fun. It was very cool. It was set in Chicago, so very urban fantasy-ish, but felt a lot more like fantasy, and I really enjoyed it. It was awesome, a lot of fun. I really hope that she does more in this world, because it was a really cool concept and really well done. All right, now we've got number 6, Demon by Rob J. Hayes, Archive of the God Eater. This novella and then Deathless come before Herald. I backed the Kickstarter and got these beautiful editions. Absolutely loved this. He recommends going backwards, reading Herald the farthest chronologically, and going back to Deathless, then Demon. But I am doing it in order of chronological order. So, and I think it was going to go good. But I love this. It was so good. You've got a really cool character who's just kind of has her world turned upside down when demons come to her small village and attack and take a bunch of people prisoner. She has to deal with a very hard loss. A lot of people die, and it's a rough road, and then it's up to her to kind of get through it and gather up some of the survivors and try to take back their freedom and get pulled into saving their world from these demons. So it was very good, short, but awesome, amazing, a fun ride. Really enjoyed it. Loved the characters in it. Rob J. Hayes is an author I have a bunch of his books and really want to get into, and this was a great start and let me know that I'm going to love anything I read by him. We are to the top 5. All right, number 5 was Sister Samurai by Tatiana Obey. This was so much fun. Kind of an older samurai. She's a little more worn down. She's just done taking S from people and dealing with all the junk she has to deal with. She just wants to chill and retire, but she's just gotta do one more job. She's gotta do. People just won't leave her alone and let her just rest. She gets sucked into things all the time. She's awesome. One of my favorite characters I read this year. So much fun. Tatiana is amazing. She's an incredible person. I'm excited for all the success she's found with this. I have books in her duology I really want to read because this was so fantastic. I cannot wait to read more from Tatiana and to see what she does in 2025. This was fantastic. If you've heard a lot of hype about this, believe it and check it out because it was really, really good. Number 4 was Queen Amid Ashes by Christopher Rocchio. This was my favorite novella in the Sun Eater series. It takes place between Howling Dark and Demon in White, and it was excellent. I really loved it. I also loved The Lesser Devil, the first one, but this has a beautiful cover. I also have this edition, the special edition of it. And of course, these are all in the Sun Eater books that start off with Empire of Silence. Fantastic stuff. I highly recommend it. This, I can't say too much about it because it's set in between books 2 and 3, but just, it really picks up where book 2 leaves off and leads into Demon in White. And I highly recommend it. These books are so good. Christopher Rocchio is awesome. Highly recommend checking these out. And I'm going to say that 3 more times because I highly recommend all of these. Number 3, top 3, here we go. Number 3 is Death Metal Bard by my man, Rob Lee. This is fantastic. I loved it so much. Look at the artwork on there. It's awesome. And I had such a blast with this. This is fantastic. We've got our main character, Ozymandias, goes by Mandy for short. And he plays death metal. which obviously isn't very popular to a lot of people in this fantasy world. They don't understand it. But the coolest thing about this is that he has a lute that he plays on, and it is able to talk to him. He hears it speak to him, and it wants him to help it get revenge on whatever happened to it. And it's very cool. When he plays the lute, like smoke comes out and he can see people's true forms, like if they're a demon hiding in human form. And it's just very cool. He goes on this adventure, not only to make it as a bard and make a name for himself and play this awesome death metal music, but also to help the lute get revenge, or whatever is speaking through the lute get revenge, and also to just stop these demons and these evil things along the way. And it is a freaking blast. I absolutely love this. I cannot wait to read Pathlighter, Rob's full-length book. It is not related to Death Metal Bard. It's its own thing. But I cannot wait to read this because this was awesome. I really hope he does more in this world, but I'm excited to read this. I mean, look at that cover. He does amazing work, and he's an awesome dude. So deserves your support. Cannot wait to get into his full-length novel. Death Metal Bard was awesome. All right, top 2. Here we go. Number 2 was Sound of Starfall by Scott Palmer. This was mind-blowing. This was fantastic. Absolutely loved the cover. And this is the prequel to his last ballad series. Memory of Song is book 1. Going to be reading this in 2025 because this summer in June, I believe June or July, the sequel comes out, which I did a cover reveal for not too long ago. I'm really excited to get into this because this was amazing. We have basically a comet asteroid is coming to destroy this world and this town, and people are just kind of going crazy, and it follows some characters who live in this world and have this magic system. There's a little bit of a rebellion going on at the same time against the ruling factions, and it's just very good. In this short novella, there's so much action, so much cool magic, where people can explode somebody's head by talking and uttering certain words at certain pitches or singing, and it's just really cool. I absolutely loved it. I loved what he was able to do in this. He made me care about characters. There's a lot of great characters. Feels very Game of Thrones, First Law-ish, and I cannot wait to get into this. This was awesome, and Scott's an awesome guy. Number 2, Sound of Starfall. And number one, my favorite novella I read of the year, with my favorite character I've read all year, and that is The Whisper That Replaced a God by Timothy Wolfe. This is fantastic. Mute is awesome. Mute is an assassin for this kingdom. He has the power to whisper a word and make everything be quiet so that it's mute and he can hear nothing. And it's very cool. And being inside his head is so much fun. He is a nut job, crazy dude, but he's so much fun. He lives in his own reality and doesn't really understand what people mean and what's actually going on. He just sees and hears what he wants to and makes his own decisions. And he's supposed to assassinate someone, but then he goes to this hostile brothel, not hostile. He goes to this brothel where a certain working lady, he thinks they have a deep connection. He's in love with her, and he's not happy that she's working with someone else. And he decides to take it upon himself to do something other than what he was sent there to do. And it kicks off a crazy story that he's in the middle of. And it's just really, really good. Absolutely loved it. I'm so excited that he's doing more in this world with this character. Number 1 was Whisper That Replaced God, and he is an awesome dude. Loved him. He's an awesome author, awesome person, and you should definitely check out his trilogy, Legacy of Bloom. I read book 1, Platinum Tinted Darkness, and loved it. Cannot wait to read books 2 and 3. It was awesome. So, there you go. There's my top 10 novellas I read in 2024. Let me know in the comments if you read any novellas, which ones you loved, if you've read any of these and agree, or which ones you're excited to read in 2025. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. Until I see you in the next video, as usual, devour your TBR, be brave, be beautiful to one another, read some novellas, and be beastly. We'll see ya.